America. All cap.
Oh. Now look at Mossy. Really? Oh, so that's how you're going to play it. You going to do this? Okay, fine. That's all I needed. That's all I needed for him to do that. And it became personal with me.
What's really good, my people? Welcome into No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Little. Big Nick the Quick with me. Super Bowl 55.
Yep.
Couple days away. Brady versus Mahomes. Storylines galore. They talking Kelsey versus Gronk. Who's the best tight end of all time? All that. We're going to get into it all. Super Bowl 55. We're going to break that down. Then we'll talk a little bit of NBA. And LeBron does not want to play the All-Star game. Thinks the All-Star game is a waste. He's like, yo, look, I came out on a short season. I did everything y'all asking for. Now y'all want me to go play an exhibition in the middle of a pandemic in Atlanta who hasn't closed.
I've had enough.
He's fed up.
I've had enough.
He's fed up. We're gonna talk NBA All-Star with LeBron, and then we'll close it. Carson Wentz on the move, allegedly. There's our major players. We're gonna do a little quarterback talk. Me and Quick just had an interesting discussion as well. We might touch on that. Big Nick the Quick, what's happening?
What's the business? Super Bowl week.
Super Bowl week, Super Bowl weekend. We're locked and loaded. Shout out everybody watching. Shout out our boy Cody P, always locked in. Hey, let me tell y'all a quick story, man. I tap in with Big Nick the Quick. We're talking Valentine's Day presents. I'm like, look, Quick, man. Let's go ahead. Get this present we need locked in. He's like, yeah, no doubt. I got it. Don't worry about it. And something told me, I was like, man, I need to get on this, man. I need to order this before it sells out. I need to get this locked in ASAP quickly. So I was like, I woke up, I was like, okay, I'm going to take care of it. I did it in the morning. About an hour and a half, sold out right after that. I was feeling good. I appreciate you, though, Nick, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah. At least I'll let you know about it, man. You know, you could have been sent off. You could have been sent off, and you could have bought those, I don't want to, without saying too much of what it was. Yeah, for sure.
Nah, you good. You good. I appreciate you, dude. You just send the layup.
I'll let y'all know. I told y'all this is an easy one. Go ahead and do it. You know what I mean? You can lead a horse to water. You know what I mean? and you drink. Everybody else. But that deal is crazy. I didn't realize how crazy of a deal it was. But yeah, I had to get it a little bit early. But yeah.
Yeah, sure. No, go ahead and
I locked in.
No, go ahead and tell the people what you're talking about. I got headphones on.
It's 50. You get 50 roses from Costco. So the reverse deal prior to Valentine's Day was 50 roses from Costco for $50, or $40. Which if you ever buy roses, flowers, any of that shit, it's a racket. A racket.
Beyond a racket.
Beyond a racket. Like you go in there thinking you're about to spend the dub, you come out $75 later. Like trust me, it happens.
Yes.
So it was a good deal. And then and that includes delivery. And then for Valentine's Day, they made it $55. But I had got them like a week early, and they're still out right now. They're big. You're gonna love them. They're big ass roses. They look great. Hop on the Costco website, man. There's a couple varieties left. The red is over with, but you might still be able to catch the white, catch the pink if you're into that, whatever it might be. But
fellas,
it was a lick.
It's a lick.
Easy
money.
It's just an easy little thing that's gonna go a long way. I can tell you, it'll turn into a nice week for me, man. So yeah, go ahead and make it happen. $40, $50 is nothing. Dog, I tried to tell some of the older heads about it, and they're like, "Oh no, I already spent enough money on this and that." I'm like, "Y'all, all right, whatever."
Only y'all shit go a long way.
Yeah, it goes a long way.
Yo, fellas, don't forget Valentine's Day. That shit's next week, man. Shit's creeping up.
Dog, are you a big Valentine's Day guy?
No.
Me neither.
It doesn't matter what you are, though. You feel me?
See, my lady's not. So your lady.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it don't really matter.
Nah, so you're not getting me. Their birthdays are in April, so you ain't hitting me in the December, then the February, then the April. I can't do it, man. You got to pick one: birthday or Valentine's Day.
I feel it. All right, let's jump into it. Super Bowl 55. A lot going on. We already touched on a little bit earlier in the week. Obviously, Brady versus Mahomes, big storylines all over the place. The spread is 3 across the board for the most part. I saw a couple 3.5s. I know a lot of people had 3.5s at -115 as well. So at some point during the week. Bucs. And let me ask you this, because I know a lot of people I want your opinion on how much are you putting into the game being in Tampa, and Tom and those boys get to sleep at home, and I guess it's a little less hoopla. This is probably the most regular feeling Super Bowl of all time, right?
No crazy media week I didn't watch any of that. I mean, I know they had some Zoom media week, but Super Bowl media week is always a spectacle, and you didn't have that this year. So I'm sure it's a regular week, and I'm sure that the Chiefs got in. They've probably been in Tampa for 2 weeks now, right? I mean, I'm sure they got in right after the game. If I'm Andy Reid, we're going down a couple days after the AFC Championship game. So I think there's I don't think it's that big of an advantage, to be completely honest with you. I think had it been like a crazy week and you're not sleeping at home, yes. But I think it's just like any other road game at this point, because your media obligations are nowhere near what they would normally be in the Super Bowl. I think normally, like, to do all that shit and then go sleep in your own bed, like, that would be great. You know what I mean? And then wake up for practice after having seen your family and all that. But I think with the pandemic and all of it being virtual, it's just like another road game for the Chiefs. And again, with the fact that you got 2 weeks, you have that extra week to kind of get settled in. And now by this time this week, you're really settled into wherever you're staying at in Tampa. I think the advantage has kind of disappeared.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's never happened before. Obviously, no one's ever played in their home stadium in a Super Bowl. They do get to go home, and I think it kind of is an advantage because this feels just like a regular home game. Kind of. It's just like another week. We played 3 straight road games to get into the Super Bowl in the playoffs. Now we're at home and we just play a home game. I mean, it's the Super Bowl, but it doesn't have a lot of that, just like you were saying, a lot of that outside noise bullshit that's going on. And we kind of could just show up and go to work. And we didn't have to travel. We kind of can get settled and worry about it that way. I think it's interesting. I wanted to see if you thought that was an advantage of any way, shape, or form. Maybe using your home
in the
facility.
sense that it's never happened before, and they have that natural advantage. It's never happened before, but I don't think it's even more enhanced because it's the Super Bowl. I think you kind of framed it right. It's an advantage because you're playing at home, but it's not any more special. Like, had it been that regular Super Bowl situation, I think it definitely would have been an advantage, like a huge advantage to play at home. Is this the first time since the first one that Tom has ever gotten points on the Super Bowl? There's no way he was laying any that he was getting points from the Giants on either of those.
Yeah,
the Eagles Super Bowl.
He was favored in both. He was favored in the Eagles Super Bowl. He was favored in both the Giants Super Bowls. He was favored in the Falcons Super Bowl.
I think he would have to go back to the first one, right? The Rams. The Rams were definitely favorites in that game.
Off the top of my head, yeah, it might be.
I can't think of one where he was.
Yeah, it might be. It might be the second time that he's been an underdog in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I can't see them ever going to a Super Bowl in New England as the underdogs outside of that first one.
And he's 1-0. I'll tell you, who would have took advantage of a home Super Bowl was Belichick. Motherfuckers mics would have been going out.
Cold water in the shower.
What?
Yeah.
Man,
what? Hey man, we don't got any food. We got these sandwiches. They would have been in that Fire Fest food.
Dude, anything at the stadium would have been a hassle.
Yeah, pain in the ass. Hey, roads would have been shut down from the hotel.
Everything. Bro.
Everything. Oh my God.
So yeah, maybe it's not.
Bill would have been all up in the facilities. Like,
oh my God,
what can we manipulate?
Yes, absolutely. So at least it's not. They don't have to worry about aliens. They don't have to worry about Bruce.
Bruce is kicking it, man.
Yeah. All right, let's go. Let's get into the game. A lot of talk about that I've been hearing this week is like who has more talent, who has more weapons. What do you think are the keys to the game? We were just talking about the previous game. Well, let's talk about the previous game and then we'll get into the keys. We were just watching we rewatched the previous game. What was that week? I think it was week 8 or 9.
Yeah.
I think it was week 8 or 9. Chiefs 24-17. But it looks a lot closer than it was, at least early. That was the game. As you know, Cheetah went crazy in the first quarter. It was 17-0 at one point. How do you feel? Just I'm gonna pose this question to you as well. If you don't feel like the home field advantage is a big deal, do you think it's how much weight do you carry in that first matchup when they first locked horns in Tampa, and the Chiefs came out on top by a touchdown.
Yeah, I know we like to talk about, like, man, a lot of times by the time you get to this point in the season, that stuff doesn't matter because teams have evolved and matured and stuff like that. I just think the way that game started with Tyreek Hill having 200 receiving yards in the first quarter, there's no way that that's not in the mind of your defense, especially your DBs, right? I think they said Davis got burnt for his share of it was 9 catches for 211 yards. If a guy hangs 200 plus yards on you, especially in that fashion and that embarrassing, and a lot of it coming in the very beginning of the game, you absolutely think about it, and it's in your head. How you respond to it is one thing, right? You're either going to take that and, it's not going to get in your way and make you make dumb plays, or you're going to be so wrapped up and not getting burnt up again. And Tyreek Hill knows that, and he's an animal, and he's going to take advantage of that. So I think that aspect of it, that part of it, and the fact that Mahomes threw for 460 yards, your defense is 100% thinking about that. I will say this, the fact that they looked so good last week against Aaron Rodgers and looked so good against that Packers line, and the fact that the Chiefs line is hurt right now, I think they're missing their right tackle, their left tackle. They might have some injuries on the interior as well. That Bucs D line looks a lot better than they did earlier in the year, and I think that they're going to be licking their chops for that matchup. But I'm worried about their secondary, though. Their secondary for sure. But JPP and my man's the other guy, yeah.
Tampa's D line has been insane for 2 full seasons now.
Yeah,
like if you go back to that Jameis Bucs team, their defense kept them afloat. Their defense has been sturdy. Yeah, I think that Jameis team won 8 games though, and he threw 60 picks.
Shout out my mans in the barbershop. Nothing better than old black dudes who want to sit there and tell you that Jameis would have done the same thing with these Bucs if he had been given a chance.
Is that what
last week in the shop? Yeah, and I was like, yeah, he was dead ass. And they didn't give Jameis no shot. And I was like, they let him throw for 5,000 yards.
Oh, they gave him too many shots. He got too many shots.
He's like, man, Jameis would have done the same thing. They didn't give him no weapons. Salute my man's in the barbershop. But yeah, no, you're right. That the Bucs D line has been going crazy and looked absolutely insane last week. Yeah, those boys looked hungry. So I think that's the real matchup because again, the Chiefs got some injuries on that line.
Yeah, JPP, Barrett are the 2 big dogs. Cody just said in the chat that JPP wins the MVP if they win the game. So that's
tell them to stay away from fireworks afterwards, and you know what I'm saying. Don't celebrate too hard, fam. Get some sparklers.
Chill.
Get some sparklers.
Hey, shout out JPP, man. No one brings that up anymore. He literally blew his hand off and came back and has been just as impactful.
In a contract year. Remember, he was negotiating a contract and he blew his hand off.
Blew his hand off in a contract year. Yeah, bro.
The Giants and their players and the accidents that they inflicted on themselves.
Crazy.
You got a player who shot himself in the club. We were talking about that in the barbershop last week, too.
You talking about
Plaxico.
Plaxico.
He shot himself in the club in sweatpants, bro.
Pulled up in the club with a piece on him, with a pole on him with sweats on, G. Unbelievable shit, bro.
Unbelievable shit.
So let me ask you this. They're talking about weapons, and you just highlighted how Cheetah went crazy and how that's going to be on their mind.
Yep.
Man, I don't even feel really comfortable saying what I'm about to say, but I feel like Kelsey is more of a weapon to them than Cheetah. I see Kelsey as like they legit try to get Kelsey the ball as much as humanly possible.
He catches everything.
If it's a shovel pass with like the little run action,
yeah,
the ball over the middle. I mean, they try to go to him as much as humanly possible. Now, I think it's just human nature that if a guy burns you for 200 plus in the first half, that's going to be the first thing you try to stop. And
a guy who also in the last playoff game had 273 yards, so he's coming in hot.
We know what time it is. If he gets listen, I'll say this: they're going to kind of attack you how whatever you give them. If you give them Tyreek 1-on-1, they're going to try to kill you with
over
that.
With.
But That's what I'm saying. I think the Bucs are going to come in and be like, yo, we cannot let that happen again. And here are the adjustments made. And then I don't know what you do with Kelsey and the rest of the guys. So it's tough.
That's and that's well. I mean, Levante David has had a great year, and obviously, I think he's going to be the one that's going to be matching up with Kelsey, and he's great in coverage. But yeah, no, Kelsey is. It's similar to Gronk. They're different players, but in the sense that remember in those Patriots year, whenever Gronk, Tom needed to catch, need a first down, it's just dump it off to Gronk. He's always open and he catches everything.
Yeah,
always open, catches everything.
Always open, catches everything. That's a good way to.
That was Gronk. Gronk was catches everything. Remember, it was what was the Super Bowl? The last one that they had. Who was the last team that they beat?
That bullshit win against the Rams. It was
against the Rams.
13-6 or something.
The Gronk down the sideline catch. You knew where Brady was going. Everybody knew where Brady was going, and Gronk hadn't done anything the entire game.
That was by far the worst Super Bowl I've ever.
It was awful to watch.
Ever watched.
Yeah.
Who was the per halftime for that?
I don't know.
That whole shit was ass.
Probably Bruno Mars or some shit.
No, shout out Bruno. Bruno's shit was legendary.
Bruno the Falcons year?
That was when they went back to back. I think they went Destiny's Child and then Bruno. Or it was not.
Oh, it was Beyonce.
It was Beyonce.
Beyonce killed it. Beyonce's was. About it.
They had a couple years back to back where it was crazy.
They need to get Rihanna out there.
Are you not excited for the weekend?
I am excited for the weekend. I think that's going to be a good show. I heard he puts on a good show. But I mean, I'm just where's Riri?
Yeah, no,
she's spending that skincare money. She don't gotta make music.
I've seen our boy the weekend.
You seen Abel?
I've seen Abel live. He was pretty good.
Yeah, he seems like he'd be pretty dope.
I like the upbeat shit for the Super Bowl. Like that J-Lo shit last year was tough.
Yeah.
I feel like all my favorite Abel songs are like slower, more calm vibes.
Yeah, but even how they're slower, he can perform them in a way that brings energy. Like that he says, don't worry. Like parts of that song are slow, but you can make that. He's got so many tracks.
Yeah.
You're gonna forget about some shit that's like, oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
So yeah.
He does have a lot of tracks.
Yeah.
Okay,
They need to get Drake. They need to get Drake to do it. I feel like
Drake would be a crazy.
Drake would be the craziest one that they could have, just because he's got so many songs, and it's kid friendly. Like Drake's not going to pull out a titty at the Super Bowl. You don't got to worry about that.
Fair enough. Yo, if you had to take a prime Kelsey or a prime Gronk, who are you taking?
Prime Gronk.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the red zone stuff, the scoring touchdowns, the size, the fact that he was such a great blocker. Gronk was so good for what they did for so many years.
I think they're
when he was healthy, like he was on. Gronk is so much bigger.
I think
Gronk's like 6'8".
I think they're the exact same player. They're probably going to be they're going to be going on to some of the best of all time. Yeah. I think, like you said, Gronk is just a better blocker in the run game. He was actually sensational in the run game.
Great blocker.
It's like insane blocker.
Yeah,
right?
like a great, like not just good, like he blocked. Like no, he was an impact blocker. Like he made a difference blocking for you in the run game.
Yeah, so that is where he gets the nod. But they both are big. They both catch everything. And say what you want. You're never able to say he was the best tight end of all time or he was the best wide receiver of all time without they all those guys that you think of, Jerry Rice, Terrell Owens, Randy Moss, Sterling Sharp, Shannon Sharp, Kelsey, Gronk, all have some of the best quarterbacks of all time.
That's why Larry Fitzgerald is one of the best receivers of all time. Imagine if Larry Fitzgerald had not played with one good Kurt Warner year, and that's about it. His entire career, he's had one year of like good quarterback, and now he's at the tail end with Kyler Murray.
Yeah,
and never said shit.
No, he didn't. Didn't
say a damn thing.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he never made any noise.
And Doug, I will say, go back to that year they made the Super Bowl. Watch Larry Fitzgerald's playoff run. When you want to talk about wide receiver, like Larry Fitzgerald brought them to the Super Bowl that year. I will die on that hill. He was so good that year that they made the Super Bowl. And yeah, didn't say a damn thing. Didn't even celebrate. Never asked for a trade. Never said, why am I playing with John Skelton and Max Hall and fucking who was my man's from the Eagles? Kevin Cobb.
Kevin Cobb.
Kevin Cobb.
Money.
Yeah, all these trash
on.
quarterbacks. Just trash that you rolled out. And all I did was catch everything you threw my way and go about my business. So Kevin shout out Larry Fitz. If he retires, shout out Larry Fitzgerald, a legend.
Yeah, big time.
First ballot.
But
yeah, you're right.
You're right. It's always funny because it's like, man, do we even know who like the best tight end of all time is? Because, man, I mean, some of these dudes, like if you gave them a quarterback, like who knows? Like,
yeah.
It's like, man, they're in such good. That's why it's so overrated. Like if you're in some of these positions, like Kelsey, I don't give a fuck what happens. He should never, ever play another season without Patrick Mahomes as his quarterback.
That's why Gronk retired.
Yeah, exactly.
And came back with Tom Wentz. So he even said, I'm only catching balls from Tom Brady. I'm not dealing with this bullshit.
Yeah, dog.
I'm not going out there running routes for some trash quarterback who's not going to get it to me. I'm not putting my body at risk to go play with some bum.
Simple as that.
It's easy.
It's easy. So
I want to play. You know why I come back? I came back this year to play in a fucking Super Bowl. So I came back to play with Tom Brady, and it's worth it now.
And
I was only coming back to play in the Super Bowl.
And guess what? Yeah, exactly.
I'm playing in the Super Bowl.
Exactly right.
Straight like that.
All right. Keys to the game. Give them to me, and then we'll get into our picks and why.
Keys to the game. Number one is going to be, we already talked about it, is going to be Tyreek Hill versus Carlton Davis and that Bucs secondary. Second is going to be the Bucs defensive line versus the Chiefs offensive line. And third is Patrick Mahomes versus.
Yeah, I feel that.
Versus everybody. Doesn't matter who. Patrick Mahomes versus Todd Bowles. Patrick Mahomes versus the Bucs D. Patrick Mahomes versus the secondary. Whoever it is, you need to figure out how much you're going to allow him to do. Because you can't stop him, but you got to figure out how much you're going to allow him to do and how you want to play that.
Dude, I think the only way you can beat him is getting pressure up the middle, directly up the middle. I'm not talking about outside pressure where he can step up and step out the way. If he can step up,
it's over with.
Step up, step out, and run. You
mean like get right in his face?
I'm talking about like shit's collapsing.
Right.
And he needs to like back up.
A power blitz.
Yes. Like and
get the exotic, sexy shit. Just fucking send straight through and get in his ass.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's how I think because he's mobile enough where like that's the thing about Tom.
He can run.
Like if you've looked at what's happened to Tom and like what's been going on and when he struggles, we already know he can't deal with pressure. But you could bring that stuff off the edge against him. They in the previous matchup, they blitzed him on 47 or 48%. I can't remember the exact number. They blitzed him on 47 or 48%. That was the highest of the season. They blitzed Tom Brady in that previous matchup. The Chiefs did.
Yeah.
And he played. If you go back and watch that game. If you want to get a feel of like the dominance that the Chiefs were doing early on in that game, go back and watch that game. The Bucs were getting ready to get run out the building, and the Bucs scored some late touchdowns. Brady looked super off, like he has in quite a bit of spots this season.
But not over the past 6 weeks since they've kind of figured it out. Arians adjusted the offense to do what Tom Brady does well. That was the secret. In the beginning of the year, for most of the season, he was trying to throw the ball downfield as much as possible. And Tom was like, hey, it's not what I do. Like, I'll take my shots when they're there, but let me make the plays when they're available. Yeah,
we've also talked about he didn't look very good against New Orleans, but that D is one of the best in the league, and I think it's just a really bad matchup for him. He didn't look good in both of those matchups, but he got the W, got it done.
Yeah.
Story
of his career.
It's going to be interesting. I think no one's talking enough about what Kansas City did to the Buffalo. We were talking about how touted. I know Buffalo came into that game on offense a little slower, but that's still one of the best offenses in the league, and that D gave them a lot of trouble.
Sure.
So I don't see why they couldn't do that in the Super Bowl with 2 weeks to prepare, but it also gives Tom 2 weeks to try to figure out what the fuck is going on.
And let me ask you this. Are we sitting around on Monday being like, it's Tom Brady in the Super Bowl? What the fuck were we talking about? Like we should have known? Or Like, you're not surprised if we come out Monday and some Tom Brady shit happens and it's like, yeah, Tom, of course, duh.
Honestly, I think if the Bucs win the game, I don't think it's because Tom went for 404 touchdowns.
But he made the plays that need to be when they need to be made.
Right. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, he's not going to come out and light them up and have a Tom Brady MVP year type game. But in the fourth quarter, if it's close,
I think that D is going to have to make a lot of plays and get a lot of stops for them to win the game. That's just my opinion. But yeah, I mean, you can, of course, honestly, these dudes are so good. It could go both ways, right? The Chiefs win and we're like, man. I mean, we know Brady's Brady, but damn, man, we went against Mahomes. And it's like, I just have an issue with when I look at both sides. I think Tampa has the better defense, but the Chiefs defense has been playing better. They on offense, the Chiefs are better, have more O. I think Brady has shown a couple spots where he's looked shaky, even in that game against Green Bay last week. No one said a word about that, by the way. He almost blew that game.
Through some of the worst interceptions I've ever seen in my life.
What? No question. No one's mentioned
second and third interceptions was two of the worst interceptions I've ever seen in my life.
Yo, no one has mentioned those at all.
The one where he just launched from nowhere to nobody was egregious.
Yeah. So Pat hasn't been doing that.
He's never had a bad game.
Yeah. So I still got the graphic. Let me pull that up again. So like Pat's not doing that. So I don't know, man. I think especially with now these guys have been here. They know what to do. I'm going to have to go with the Chiefs. And I think they put a lot of pressure on them early, and I think it just changes the game. I don't think it's going to be good if Brady has to drop back and throw it 45 times. I think they're going to have to get Fournette involved. I think they have to get I'm blanking on the other tailback's name. I'm tripping.
Rojo.
They're gonna have to get Ronald Jones. They're gonna have to get Ronald Jones involved. So it's interesting. The total has went down from 57.5. It opened at 57.5. Now it's down to 56. I don't know. Stay tuned. Who you got? I got the Chiefs. And they covered 3. I got the Chiefs and they covered 3.
Man, it's so hard for me to go against Tom Brady. But
the offensive line injuries for the Chiefs.
The Chiefs are significant.
Yes,
you lose both of your tackles. Like, again, and that's one of those things, like, we love to talk about how much the offensive line matters until we don't want to talk about how much the offensive line matters, right? Like, losing 2 tackles, Mitchell Schwartz and Eric Fisher, who are 2 very good tackles. Like, ask Patrick Mahomes. He's worried about that.
Yeah, no question.
I'm gonna do something crazy. I'm going with Tom Brady in the Bucs. Last week I wasn't there, but I'm going with the Bucs.
All right, it should be a good one, man. I'm excited to see what happens.
I'll take I'll go with the Bucs, and I'll take the 3 points. So this is crazy, and I looked this up while we were talking. But Cody said the stat that proves that Fitz is at bad QB is he has more tackles than drops in his career. Larry Fitzgerald has 39 tackles in his career and 29 drops.
Yo, that's insane.
Fucking crazy.
Yo, that's an amazing stat.
That is an amazing stat.
Larry Fitzgerald has 39
a wide receiver has more tackles. And how is he getting tackles? He's not playing special teams. Picks.
Wow, I gotta fact check that.
Yo,
that's crazy.
I looked it up because I saw it. I fact checked it. Yeah, it's 39-29. I'm looking at it right now.
That's amazing. Shout out Larry Fitz, man.
That's
actually incredible.
And he's played out of 250 career games. He's made 248 starts. Well, draft yourself a Larry Fitz and keep it moving.
Well, dog, is this man tackling 50% of the picks thrown? 39.
Or he's just played with some fucking If he is, that's even better. It shows you how dedicated he is. But that's how crazy. Bad. The fact that he's had that many opportunities to get tackles, like 39. Yeah, like that's how many picks have been thrown on the field in which he's playing football.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a crazy stat.
Because he's not playing special teams. He's not out there. He's not a gunner on the fucking kickoff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Shout
out Larry Fitz. Hey, free Larry Fitz. Hey, bring him to the Chiefs for just a game. Let him play on Sunday.
So let him retire a Chief.
Retire a Chief.
Shout out Larry Fitz.
Shout out Larry Fitz, a legend.
Yeah, shout out Larry Fitz. All right, let's move over to this NBA
One
talk.
of the best stats I've ever heard in my entire life.
That's an incredible stat. Shout out Larry Fitz. That's amazing.
Shout out Cody for that one.
Yeah, shout out Cody, always locked in with us. NBA All-Star game. LeBron's not with it. I got the clip. Me and Nick were talking about this. I'm just gonna get into it straight away. Quick background. NBA essentially preseason sent out a memo saying for right now, no All-Star game is scheduled, and there's a break in the middle of the year. But they never canceled All-Star weekend. Now, as we get closer, they kind of perked up and were like, hey, don't think we're not having an All-Star game and this, that, and the third. And I will say this, tons of voting by the fans, like some of the highest numbers in years. Media is obviously clamoring for it because it's more stuff to watch, more advertisements to sell. But here's LeBron James on the All-Star game in Atlanta, possibly.
I have zero energy and zero excitement about an All-Star game this year. I don't even understand why we're having an All-Star game. But it's the agreement that the Players Association and the league came about. Short off season for myself and my teammates was 71 days. And then coming to this season, we were told that we were not having an All-Star game. So we had a nice little break, 5 days from the 5th through the 10th, an opportunity for me to kind of recalibrate for the second half of the season, my teammates as well, some of the guys in the league. And then they throw an All-Star game on us like this and just breaks that all the way up. So pretty much kind of a slap in the face. We're also still dealing with a pandemic. We're still dealing with everything that's been going on. And we're going to bring the whole league into one city that's open. Obviously the pandemic has absolutely nothing to do with it at this point when it comes to that weekend. Obviously you guys can see I'm not very happy about it, but it's out of my hands. And, I'll be there if I'm selected. But I'll be there physically, but not mentally.
LeBron has spoken.
What do you think?
Couple things. Number one, LeBron looks fed up. You usually don't see him looking that fed up. He looks 100% fed up with that situation. Number two, he's spot on. First situation, rest, right? From a rest perspective, if you have the opportunity to get these guys who are playing back-to-backs, staying in cities overnight to play back-to-backs, in this condensed season, right, in which you already had to shorten it by 10 games, in which these guys were playing into October if you went into the finals, right? Why not take this time to give them that 5 days? No one is clamoring for the All-Star game. We've already made sacrifices this year. We get it. I wasn't even expecting an All-Star game. The NFL, who we know puts profit over everything else, even said the Pro Bowl is probably not a good idea, so we are not going to do it. But the NBA is going to hold an All-Star game. And of all places to hold the All-Star game, you say, let's go to Atlanta? So the NBA is saying, hey, let's host a super spreader event in a city that's open, that likes to party, and is filled with strip clubs. Let's send all of our young players there. Because that's a great idea. Because the one thing you do when you're in Atlanta is sit in your fucking hotel room. Come on, man. Like, this is so stupid. In Atlanta? At first I heard it was going to be Orlando. Okay, maybe that's acceptable. Nowhere near as cracking as Atlanta, right? Atlanta? There's nothing in Atlanta to do but go to the strip club. Lou Williams had a business meeting in the strip club. That's what you do. It's a super spreader event. So forget the rest. You don't want to give these guys their 5 days, but then you say, no, we're going to double down on that and go to one of the biggest party, young black man, have a good time city in America. And you're going to bring all these guys there. And then you're going to expect the guys who aren't named LeBron James to sit in their hotel room over the weekend. Come on, man. Stop it.
It could get ugly.
Especially because when you're on the road traveling with your team this year, you're pretty much under a contract to not do anything. But we're going to give you 5 days in Atlanta. All these dudes have a chick in Atlanta. Trust me. Every single one of them. Every single one of them. This is so stupid. I'm sorry for yelling.
What happens if LeBron is like, I think he wants to show up for the fans.
He has to. He can't. He's the ambassador of the league. It's a tough spot. He doesn't show up. He knows what happens, and that's a bad look for his relationship with the league that he needs to. In order for him to do what he does, his relationship with it's a give and take a bit. And he's the ambassador. If LeBron's like, I'm not showing up, guess what? KD's not showing up. James ain't showing up. None of the veterans who have been there before will show up. None of them.
I think what you're getting at is, if you want to keep the relationship with the owners and then eventually become an owner yourself, you can push the envelope quite a bit.
Yeah.
You got to show up to all the functions.
Yeah.
And I can tell you this right now. This is what he's going to do. He's going to pull up. He's going to fuck around. He's going to do what he's supposed to do. He's going to play 10 minutes in the game.
And probably hop on a flight at halftime.
Yeah. He's going to play 15 minutes in the game and be like, all right, we out of here. But this is the thing, too. I think part of it is he's frustrated is that I bet you he's like, I'm gonna play all these fucking games. I'm not doing any load management. I'm gonna play all these games to start the season because I know I have a 5-day stretch in the middle.
100%. Remember I said he wasn't gonna show up till 2021, but he did. And he probably said, I'm gonna get my 5 days. As long as I get my 5 days to plug in and have my team work on me and do what I need to do to get refreshed, because I'm fucking 36 years old and I'm about to go to my 9th NBA finals in the last 10 years or whatever it might be. I need that time. My teammates need that time. The rest of the league, and if the owner, it's like, who is asking for this? I don't want to see a slam dunk contest where dudes aren't on the sideline kicking it. Like, that's half of it. Like, what is he wearing? Where's everybody going? What's the move? Who's sitting with who? Who has that status now to where they're sitting in the front row? It's more of a fashion show and a spectacle. Like, you're not going to get that. I'm not interested in it. I'd rather give these guys the 5 days as a fan because I know they deserve it and pick back up because the basketball will be better. Well, you're already asking a lot. You just asked these dudes to spend 3 months in a fucking bubble in Orlando.
Then
like, nobody wants this. Who in the and it's just the Players Association. Who in the Players Association is pushing for this? It has to be 100% revenue related. I mean, obviously we know that, but like there has to be some TV revenue involved in those
contracts. Yeah, 100%.
The TV money. We just can't sacrifice any more dollars because we don't have fans and all that shit. But to me, it's absurd. And then in Atlanta, that's what I can't get over. Atlanta, do this Salt Lake City. You might as well go to Vegas.
Atlanta's one of the only places that's open. But yeah, man, I think
that's the problem.
Yeah, I mean,
New Orleans. Let's do it in New Orleans, Mardi Gras. Like, come on, man, it's stupid, dude. Like, guys are going out in Atlanta. Everybody got a piece in Atlanta. Stop it, man. It's so stupid.
Yeah,
it's silly.
I think, but him coming into the league, for him not to take a night off all year yet, play every single game, there's no doubt in my mind he's like, I'm getting ready to get 5 big days off with nothing to do in the middle, and then I'll recalibrate, like you said, Nick, and then we'll get rocking and rolling straight into the playoffs, and I'll be ready to close out the year strong.
Yeah,
no doubt. So
I'm not asking for it. I would be pissed too if I was him, man. Especially his status. Like, I'd be really pissed. But like if he doesn't show up, it's a bad message. And it's one of those things where LeBron, he has to. This is his responsibility based on his standing in the league.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that, no doubt.
But it is bullshit. In Atlanta, of all Atlanta, the strip club capital of America.
So are they? I mean, I don't know the details yet. Are they gonna? What are the protocols right now? When you're on the road, you're not supposed to leave the hotel.
The protocols when you're at home or on the road, you have to avoid all gatherings. You're supposed to avoid bars, clubs, all those types of things. That's a break of protocol. So
essentially, they're going to tell them to have an all-star game with no people in the building.
In Atlanta,
do some television shit in Atlanta. Tell them they have to stay in their room.
No Magic City. No, none of that. Stay in your room. Yeah. I mean, I guess. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It seems it's like, okay, well, now I thought I was going to get 5 days at the crib. Now I'm 5 days prisoner in a hotel room in Atlanta.
Right. Yeah, that's
tough. Stupid. Like, I get it, man. There's something else you can do. Hey, man, you know what? We'll come back in the summer and we'll do a showcase for TNT for 3 days that they can televise. I don't fucking know. Like, work it out. Yeah. I mean, you got to figure it out, man. And TNT might have to sacrifice a bit. Hey, man, y'all going to lose this All-Star game. It is what it is. Because that's a super spreader event. You're putting all the best players in the league around each other. God forbid one dude has COVID. Now they all got COVID. They've been sharing a locker room together. Right now, you've been able to contain it by the team. right?
Right.
Now you got all these dudes sharing a locker room, sharing the ball, practicing together. One dude has COVID. You could knock out 10 of your most important players in the league.
Yeah.
Or at least quarantine them for 2 weeks after the break if there's a case. You just had a situation with this barber. I mean, this situation is so touch and go. No unnecessary risks. All you've done is try to mitigate risk since the beginning of this. Why would you bring in all this risk now? That's what I don't understand.
Yeah, I feel it. So we'll see what happens with that situation. LeBron is not happy. I'm sure he'll talk to some folks, but it sounds like they're gonna have to go and make the shit happen. But
Rich Paul's on Fifth Avenue in the office, in league offices right now, talking to somebody. He's like, "Hey, this isn't right. Clutch won't be represented.
Shut up. Shut up,
Clutch is staying home, which is half the league.
Shut up, Rich.
And half the coaches and agents, and they're all Clutch.
That's funny.
Referees.
Referee. Clutch. Yeah, Clutch just signed Terry McCollum.
Yeah. She's not showing up. All the new female referees, all represented by Clutch. They're not showing up. That's a bad look. Not showing up.
He's got to stay united.
Let's stay united. Showing up. Hey, Mike Green can't call the game. He's Clutch. Ernie Johnson can't host. He's Clutch.
Oh, you guys didn't know Kevin Harlan was Clutch? Yeah,
you didn't know the cameraman was Clutch? Yeah, he's Clutch.
Yeah, Clutch.
Towel boy, Clutch. Whole time.
That's funny.
That would be funny. Uber drivers, Clutch.
Yeah.
Sorry.
My advisor Rich told me I can't.
I can't pick you. I can't accept this ride. I'm sorry. Rich is on the phone.
That's funny.
That is really funny.
All right. Let's move over. NFL. Not Super Bowl, but the offseason is just as popping, obviously, right? A lot of things going on. Quarterbacks moving. We already know Stafford went to LA. Goff is now in Detroit. Hottest guy right now being talked about is Carson Wentz. Probably the most polarizing quarterback in the league right now, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
A lot of people, we're about to have a conversation about it, but a lot of people have essentially said this guy forgot how to play football. He doesn't listen, does his own thing, tries to play backyard football, just do whatever he wants. That's Carson Wentz right now. He just signed, and this would be this upcoming NFL season would be the first year of his new super max deal, you could call it. I don't have the details in front of me, but I think it's like $150 million. Look up that deal for me and get the details on
4 years, yeah.
But this would be the first year of his new deal, and essentially he doesn't want to play in Philadelphia anymore, but he's also coming off one of the worst quarterback seasons in quite a long time. So it's not a Deshaun Watson situation.
4 years, $128 million.
4 years,
108 of it is guaranteed. So
4 year, 128, 108 guaranteed. I said 150. I thought it was like 149, but yeah, that sounds about right. 128, 108 guaranteed. This is not a Deshaun Watson situation where he's signed, locked and loaded, and looking to move, and he could go anywhere he wants outside of maybe 4 teams. This is, like we said, one of the most polarizing guys in the league, coming off one of the most polarizing seasons in a division we've ever seen with the NFC East and what they did in Philly.
And perpetually injured, too.
Yeah.
Like I think he's only played one healthy year in the NFL.
Yeah. So
even if you do think he's great, like you can't deny that.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So there's people on ESPN that think he's a problem still. Orlovsky thinks he's still really talented.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to say that he is write him off and he'll never be anything again, but you guys know where I stand on the Bears, because as of a couple hours ago, big talk is that Carson Wentz would end up in Chicago. It's a really big Ryan Pace move. This fits Ryan Pace to a T. Where are you at with Carson Wentz? What options does he even have, in your opinion? What options do Philly have? What would you do if you're Philly? What would you do if you were a team looking for a quarterback?
Yeah, so with Carson Wentz, and it was funny, man. Before we talked about this, I wanted to look up the numbers and just kind of see where we were at and just how bad he's really been. And I think last year we watched the games, and what's happened last year has been talked about.
They're
awful.
really bad.
He was turning the ball over left and right, clearly playing out there with no confidence.
Yeah.
I don't think you can discount the fact that there was absolutely something going on inside the building too. Like, it was clear that him and Doug Peterson just had negative relationship. Not even to say that they didn't have a relationship, it was a negative relationship. Like,
Right.
Wentz didn't want to work with him. Peterson didn't want to work with him. Benched him, did everything he could to essentially say, I don't want this guy. With that being said, look, man, you look at the year before, 27 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions with the team that, I think that year was the year that he was getting all this praise for how he was playing because of how bad his weapons were, right? He was down to 7th and 8th string receivers and things like that. So I'm not ready to come out and say that he's done as an NFL quarterback and he's done being effective based off of last year. I just think last year was an awful year. But I don't hold him in that high regard of what he looked like he could have been a few years ago before he got hurt and it looked like he was an MVP candidate. So with that being said, if the perception around the league is that he's very damaged goods and you can get him for cheap, right? Like cheaper than it would normally cost you to get a quarterback of that caliber, because we just saw, even for the Jared Goff deal, I mean, they had to attach some picks on there, right? So, I mean, if you can get him for a solid deal, I wouldn't hate it. Like, I think I'm kind of like you are with it. I'm kind of indifferent to it. Like, I'm not banging down the door saying, let's go get Carson Wentz like I am for Deshaun Watson, right? If you make this Wentz deal, please just let me know that you made a fair offer for Deshaun Watson. If you are willing to spend draft capital, right, and mortgage the future for a quarterback, just let me know that you were willing to make a better offer for Watson and you just couldn't get it because you weren't willing to go that far. That would be the only ask that I have. But if you get Wentz for a second and a fourth, or a second and a third, something like that, yeah, absolutely. I'm with it. Why not?
I'm going to say this. If you go back and look at Wentz's best season as a pro, I think it's 2017 or 18, right around there when
the year they won the Super Bowl.
Year they won the Super Bowl. The numbers would be far and away the best Bear season to ever happen from a quarterback. So,
not even close.
Yeah, you feel what I'm saying? So I think that's like let's put that in perspective.
The year he got hurt, he had played 13 games, 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, only completed 60% of his passes, but it was the second year in the league. I mean, yeah, he was playing lights out.
But I think he had like 300 or 400 rushing yards too. Like, he was having a crazy year. Tell me, how many rushing yards did he have? And how many games are we talking about? He got injured in like
13. He had 33 touchdowns in 13 games. And one of those is the game he got hurt, so it's really 12 games.
12 and a half games, right?
Yeah. And then rushing, he rushed for 300 yards.
Yeah. I mean, like, he was about to be he was getting ready
he's going to be the MVP.
So, like, if that guy still exists, like, let's be honest, if he shows up in Chicago,
motivated and happy.
Yeah, exactly, and healthy, and puts up those like this dude, that's the best. That's the best season from a quarterback in Chicago in history, bar none, hands down. It's not close, right?
Yeah.
So, that being said, I tweeted this right before we hopped on. The Bears are in no position to give up, I don't think, any draft capital, unless we're talking about 5th and 6th round picks. Okay.
Well, that's not going to happen.
But like maybe a 5 or 4, maybe. 1s and 2s for me are completely out of the question. This is the other thing. This is the other thing. If he comes to town and we have to take a mass majority of that deal, it's completely off the table for me. Don't mess up the cap anymore trying to save a guy that we don't know we don't know where he's at mentally, physically, and because he hasn't been since last year. But I will say this, he didn't have any weapons last year, and it's an interesting situation.
A lot of times on those deals, because this is kind of what happened with the Goff deal, is when you end up trading for them, that signing bonus stays with the original team, right? Like the Rams are still on the hook for as far as the cap is concerned, like $22 million of Jared Goff this year, because when you take those signing bonuses, you end up spreading the cap hit throughout a few years, right? So if depending on how his cap hit is spread out with that signing bonus, which is $108 million guaranteed, a lot of that money could stay with Philly in a trade, which is why it's not always in their best interest to trade him. You have to really want to be done with a player like the Rams were with Goff to be able to say, look, I'm going to essentially have a $22 million in dead cap money, right? So that money doesn't always move over with the Bears. So if it's a situation where they owe him, he's a $34 million cap hit, it looks like coming up, and we only have to absorb, $14 million of that on our cap, then that's a completely different deal. My issue with him isn't necessarily the play, it's the injuries. Like, I do think that he will play better in a different situation because I just think that was a bad spot for him. But I would be worried that this guy just hasn't shown the ability to stay healthy as an NFL quarterback.
It's also because he's running around doing all this crazy, goofy shit.
But he does a lot of stupid shit.
Right. That's what I mean.
A lot of the things last year were not like a talent thing. It was stupid shit. And then after the game telling you, I did stupid shit because I wanted to and I thought it was the right thing to do. Like, I'm not coming out saying, you know what, that was a dumb play. Like, no, I wanted to do that. I wanted to hold on to the ball as I'm in the grasp and then let it go. You know what I mean? Like,
shout out. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Shout out Drew Castillo. He just dropped some knowledge in the comments as well. He said Wentz has never been good at the deep ball. Even in 2017 and 18, his best 2-year stretch, he completed 39% of his passes for 12.1 yards an attempt. Last 2 years, that's fallen for 35% and 10.2 yards per attempt. He said NFL average is 44% and 12.3. So that's interesting.
Yeah, but I mean, I think a lot with that deep ball shit comes down to his wide receivers, though.
Yeah,
you have to have deep ball threats. Yeah, how many has Aguilar dropped, and how many have been to 5th, 6th receivers? But I get it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, shout out Drew for the info there. Chad in the comments said, "Do we really trust Pace and Nagy?" No, of course not.
Well covered.
Yeah, no.
well covered.
Yeah.
Look at every last Monday for the past 6 months. We let y'all know how we feel on that one.
No, so
I wouldn't hate it though. I'm not banging down the door for it, but I wouldn't necessarily hate it. But yeah, I think what kind of draft capital are we giving up? Because again, this team has already sacrificed a ton of draft capital for Foles, for Trubisky, and for Mac. And eventually, like, you have to you got to rebuild through the draft. You can't give away everything. You have to build depth. You have to build depth.
You have to build depth and build it through the draft. I think that's the biggest thing. I think if you could somehow
for Watson, take it all.
Yeah, that's the other thing. That's the other thing. I'm reading that we're offering them possibly 2 1s and a 2 or 2 2s. Bro, if you're giving that up, then just give up 4 or 5 1s then for Watson.
That's my point. Let me know that this was your fallback option, because if you're either the only reason you're not in the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes is because you don't want to sacrifice draft capital. So if you turn around and give up draft capital for Carson Wentz, it tells me that you're full of shit. Or you still have the same issue that you had with Watson 4 years ago. Only difference now is you've seen him play in the NFL and excel, and you still have that same problem. So if you're willing to mortgage your draft capital, right? If you're willing to trade that, then trade it for the better player. You can't be partially in. Go all in. At that point, what's a 2 versus a 1 when you're getting a player who's that much better?
Exactly.
Because if you trade for Deshaun Watson, I don't give a fuck what you give up. Because the chances of that becoming Deshaun Watson, even collectively, is small. So don't tell me you're not in Watson because you don't want to give up draft capital. Because the salaries are the same. Watson might make a little bit more, but at this point, it's apples to apples, right? So don't you dare get up there and tell me that. That's my problem with this move. That we're all of a sudden, Watson's been dangled out there for a month, and I haven't heard a single Bears rumor other than people saying that we should do it. But now Wentz, who I thought once they fired Peterson meant that he was staying in Philly, now all of a sudden I'm hearing that we're the front runners and we're offering 2s and 1s. I swear if you put together a deal that includes a first-round pick and you don't tell me afterwards that deal was rejected by Houston or a better deal was rejected by Houston, I swear I'm out. And I say that every year, I'm out because you have a problem with Deshaun Watson that no one else sees.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, that's the thing.
That's crazy to me. So you either want to hold on to your draft capital or you don't. You can't sacrifice it, some of it for one quarterback and not all of it for the other. The other is that much better.
Don't half step it and give up draft capital when you could go full blow and get a bona fide superstar.
Hey, the only question surrounding Deshaun Watson, where is he going to go? Not how he's going to play when he gets there. Not is he going to be healthy. Where is he going to go? There are football questions around Carson Wentz. Those do not exist around Deshaun Watson. And have not for a while. Now, the only questions exist around Deshaun Watson are in your mind, Ryan Pace. You fucking clown.
We'll leave it there. We'll leave that there. Yo, I as we get out of here, we're gonna close the show up. I want to play you this clip. I was looking at some videos. A caller called in from Super Bowl 50. Super Bowl 50 was Broncos, Cam Newton, and the Panthers. The Panthers were favored. This guy,
the Peyton Manning Heist game.
The Peyton Manning Heist game, the free Super Bowl he got on the back of Von Miller. Shout out Von. Shout out Von. Listen to this call in. I got a couple of questions for you after. This is a call in to Colin Cowherd's show, and he had bet some money on the Broncos.
How much did you bet?
I have personally over $100,000 right now bet on the game on a money line.
Hold on, you hear the accent, so I gotta. You already know it's gonna be comedy, but I'm gonna ask you what you think about after.
How much did you bet?
I have personally over $100,000 right now bet on the game on a money line plus 185. But this is like stealing money. Make no mistake about it, Colin. Normally this situation does not happen. Better defense plus points with 2 weeks to prepare. Then you add the number one defense plus points with 2 weeks to prepare.
All right, so last week we took a call from a guy, and his name was Stu in New York, and he said he was going to bet $100,000 on Denver.
Yes, I won $185,000.
What?
I posted up $100,000, and on the money line I got back plus 185. So I won $185,000.
Okay, Stu. Why can't you take that $185,000? And do you live in Long Island? Where do you live?
Yes, I live in Long Island.
Okay.
But listen,
Can you
Colin,
just stop?
my mortgage is $10,000 a month. My taxes are $44,000. My insurance is $17,000.
Okay.
I got a net $300,000-$400,000 net a year to live. I got 4 boys, and I live large.
Okay, all right.
Wait, folks said his mortgage is $10,000 a month.
He said,
"Where are you living? Where are you living?"
He said, "My mortgage 10 bands, taxes 44." He said, "I live large, baby. I got 4 boys."
It's a $10,000 a month in mortgage.
First off, I loved that audio. It was awesome, and he was right, bro. You're gonna get the best defense in the league. Points,
plus money with time to prepare,
and a couple of weeks to prepare. No, I'm not going for that.
Defense prepares better than offense.
My question is for you: when would do you believe him, and do you think that having 4 boys, you need to clear about 300 bands to live large?
We need to bring on our mans and ask them. Shout out Jay.
Yeah.
Yes. Hey, I have 1 kid, and yes, bro. If you have 4 children, dog. If you have 4 children and you're not, yes. Yes, bro. If you have 4 kids and you make $150,000, you're probably broke out here in the streets, like for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yes,
he was dead ass serious. He was talking like, "Yo, I had to bet 100 bands.
I had to. I needed that. I needed that. It was worth more to me out there than it was in my pocket. Yeah, 4 kids. I'm assuming he's married. He's got 6 people in the house. Yeah, forget about it.
Yeah, like what do you want?
Kids in the multiples, man. I'll take my hat off to you because that shit. I like my money too much. Yeah, I can't do it. That's a fucking chore.
Dude, that's the same thing I say about like dudes with all these like fucking with all these chicks at the same time.
Oh my God, it's too much.
It's too much.
It's too much, man. you need peace and quiet in your life. You can't be juggling all these situations.
I know too much going on for all that. Too much
money.
The house is too noisy.
Too much time. Too many stories.
Too many boxes. It's just too much, bro.
Too many people to keep happy, man. I'm good. I have 2 people I need to keep happy. I'm not trying to add any more.
Yeah, man. Shout out Dark Age in the comments. Yeah, that could work, bro. Shoot me a message, man. I'm not gonna bring that up on the show, but yeah, shoot me a message. I'll talk you through with that.
I could do that for a Grand Prix.
Yeah, Grand Prix. Well, F1.
I think we're like 15 weeks away. Grand Prix, and we have a Formula 1 podcast coming. Call it Brothers on the Grid.
Straight up. That dude, I'm excited to get to a race. There's no doubt about that. All right, we'll leave it there. Super Bowl 55 Sunday, man. Make sure you get some good grub, hang out with some good people. Not too many people though.
Stay at home. Hey, what's on the menu real quick?
I honestly don't have shit on the menu.
You're not air frying?
I was legit. Dude, I got so busy today. I was supposed to go watch the game at Henry's house with his pops and shit, and hang out with his pops. But I was supposed to get a test today, but I ran out of time.
COVID test?
Yeah, a little rapid test. So maybe I'll go tomorrow, but I don't have anything planned. I got to get with it. What about you?
Oh man, I think I'm doing three different types of wings. I'm gonna do the teriyaki, the buffalo, and I don't know what I'm doing with the third one. Maybe the Parmesan garlic.
How you gonna grill them? How you gonna cook them?
Smoke them on the Traeger.
See the smoke? I don't like smoked wings. Dude.
Nah, they're not. But I smoke them at a higher. It's not smoked at like 180 degrees, like true smoking. It's more of like a roasting.
Okay.
So they're crispy. They come out crispy. I've sent you the pictures before. They come out crispy. I mean, they have to be crispy. I don't like the soft wing.
If there's one thing that has to be crispy, dog, is your wings.
I'm gonna go up to Costco tomorrow and see what they're talking about, man. Hey, look, grab that Costco membership. If you do any type of cooking and grilling and any of that, the Costco membership, grab a second refrigerator and get the Costco membership and don't look back.
Yeah, straight like that. Yo, Cody, flats all day, baby. I'm flats always.
Hey, wings, drums. Hey,
Nick
Cody, drums.
Hey, that's it for No Catch Up this week. Chiefs, lock it in. Go get some money. No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. For Big Nick the Quick, I'm your host, Sean Little. Make sure you subscribe everywhere, iTunes, YouTube. You know the vibe, man. Holler at us. No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. We lit.